What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another game preview. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be taking a look at game number 54 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they take on the Seattle Kraken here tonight in Seattle for a late one for a 10 p.m. puck drop. We'll dig into the lines for what we know for tonight's game as of right now. We'll also give out our best bet, up 5.5 units on the season. We'll dig into all of that and much more. A presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps when you sign up today. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay, so transparency here. What we know as of right now with this Leafs team could very well change ahead of tonight's game. I know that's tough because we're doing a game preview and trying to figure out as much information as possible, but these 10 o'clock starts, Eastern time, that is, make it very different for what we find out for the morning skates and when things happen. And the other part of this is on a road trip, sometimes we just don't find stuff out until later anyways. So I'm going to do the best of what I can with the information that we currently have and all the updates that we've already been given as of right now. And we'll try to kind of dig through all the noise and all the information that's out there and what I heard the boys on the morning show call everything. Like, we're going to kind of try to pinpoint as much as possible. I just want to kind of get it out there right now, right away, and just explain to people this is a fluid situation, and what I say right now could change between now and game time. So don't take anything in absolutes, and we're using the information that we have to the best of our abilities. So let's go over to Daily Faceoff, and let's start with what we've got for our line combinations tonight. And it's pretty much what we saw the other day, which I think makes sense. So let's start with the first line. Right now we have Austin Matthews, Matthew Knies, and Max Domi. I will say this. We don't really have any kind of update on Marner. The last we've heard is Berube saying he hopes Marner can play. Nylander's hat trick granted the team a day off yesterday, so we got even less information than what I would have liked or even found out. There was no extra, this guy was skating, that guy practiced. They had a day off because Willie got a hat trick and said, I want a day off. That was his wish for the group. Good for you, Willie, but screws us a little bit here trying to do game previews and look at lineups. One thing I will say, if you are looking at Mitch Marner and handling this, I would just give him the day. I would give him another game. I know he wants to play. I know he wants to be in the game, and I respect that. I appreciate that from him. I would just be looking at this from the perspective of, it's a Thursday game against Seattle. We just beat Calgary. We're coming off 2 consecutive wins here. Things are looking good for the group. Seattle's a struggling team. They're not very good. You should be able to do what you want with them here. You got one more game until the Four Nations. I know he's going to want to get into one, but it's not like he's been sitting out for weeks on end, waiting and dying to get back in for a game to get a little bit of a touch before he goes off to the Four Nations. Just don't worry about it. Don't rush it. That being said, I could see him playing and jumping in. So take this with a grain of salt. Domi on the first line right now. Second line, Pacioretty right now, Tavares, Nylander. I think this is probably how you should start the game again and just trying to kind of kickstart Pacioretty to go here because it wasn't like he was bad in the last game, but Bobby McMinn was so goddamn good down there on that third line that you kind of had to look at it and go, you know what? You have to go up to the second line. You're so good. We're trying to hold this lead. You've been unbelievable here tonight. Bobby, it's your time to shine, buddy. Get up there and go on the second line. Pacioretty, we need to find something. He did have some chem with Tavares and Nylander earlier in the season. It's been in and out this year. He's kind of been finding himself, on the IR at times, in the press box at times. It's been a back and forth, up and down battle for Pacioretty. Ultimately, when I'm looking at a guy like this, I give him the runway here. Let him go back to that second line. See if he can find something against Seattle. I don't want to say that it's ever a guaranteed win or anything like that, but Seattle's a struggling team. They're dealing with their own stuff right now. If you maybe look at a chance or a game where it's hey, you could go out there and battle it out right now. They're going to get up to play against you, but maybe you find yourself in, not a game like Boston or Florida where you could get buried and it could just be a terrible game for you, this might be the night to say to Pacioretty, hey, go find something. Go play with these guys and find something. That brings us to our third line, McMahon, Holmberg, and Robertson. I like what they brought the other night, honestly. It's been said time and time again, Nick Robertson is an effort guy. If he can find ways to impact the game elsewhere, then I think it will be a guy you have to keep. I think he wants to and thinks he is an offensive guy more than anything and is not really that interested in adapting his game to maybe or changing his game completely to be something else, which I understand, and I think that he'll be successful somewhere else doing that. I don't necessarily know it'll be here, but for the time being, I think we can appreciate and respect the effort that this guy is bringing every single game. Like, he's going balls to the wall, he's playing hard on the forecheck, he's hitting guys, like, he's doing all those things, but you can tell there's very much still this commitment to, hey, I'm a goal scorer. But right now, a guy like Bobby McMahon is bringing more goal scoring and more offensive ability than him. Pontus Holmberg. Hello, Pontus. I mean, I don't really have much else to say about Pontus. Rosie and the boys have talked about it a lot. Pontus is a guy who's kind of just finding himself out there at times and is just kind of part of the game. I thought he played okay, but there's times where he's against Calgary, but there's times where he just looks out to lunch. I don't know. I thought Pontus had taken a step this year. I've said that maybe 54 times on 54 game previews and has not been the case yet. Fourth line, Lorentz, Kampf, Reeves. You know what? They actually look good against Calgary, and Ryan Reeves even got himself a chance in tight there. He's getting tips in front of the net. Like, I thought Reeves had himself a pretty decent game. But that'll do it for our forward lines for tonight. There's not too much to say about that fourth line otherwise. And, if they can continue what they did against Calgary on Tuesday, I think you're going to have a pretty easy time with the Seattle Kraken tonight. And I'm not trying to disparage the Seattle Kraken, but it's a reality of the situation. They're not a very good team. They are struggling. Goaltending has not been very good for them. If the Leafs show up and decide to play like the Maple Leafs and not play down to Seattle, they should walk into Seattle and walk out with a pretty easy win. It is what it is. That would be the case for any of these upper teams right now playing against this Kraken team. That's it for your forward lines for tonight's game against Seattle. Before we get to our defense here, and we're talking about these road trips, and we're talking about going out and traveling and everything like that, if you want to travel yourself coming up very quickly in March 20th to 23rd, the Nation Vacation, the first ever TLN Nation Vacation will be taking place down in Nashville. We're talking about live podcasts, winery tour, getting out there to Carter Hutton's bar. On top of that, going in person to see the Leafs and Predators. It's going to be a must-see experience down there with the boys from the Leafs Nation, Jay Rosehill, Carter Hutton, Nick Alberga, just to name a few. Make sure you head on over to nationgear.ca so you don't miss out on this unbelievable opportunity. Make sure to check it out now. All right, let's now check out what we've got for the defensive lines for this Leafs team tonight. And yet again, minimal information, but again, I think that if you roll with the pairs of what you had the other day, I think that's fine. So what you've got right now, Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev, pairing number 1. You've got Morgan Riley and OEL, pairing number 2. Simone Benoit and Connor Timmins, pairing number 3. Look, if they throw in Philippe Myers and take out one of Benoit or Timmins, I'm not going to be shocked ahead of tonight's game. The other lines here, McCabe, Tanev, OEL, Morgan Riley, those ones seem to make sense. You've got the best defensive pairing maybe in the NHL right now in Tanev and McCabe. They're just eating minutes, shutting everybody down. They've been unbelievable together, so kudos to them. Riley, OEL, Benoit, Timmins. I mean, between those guys, you can mix and match anybody, move anybody else around, and I wouldn't really be surprised. But that's pretty much your defensive pairing. Then what you've got right now for your power play units, we're looking first unit and second unit right now. Nice, Tavares, Nylander, Morgan Riley, Austin Matthews is your first unit. Can't imagine that changing unless Marner plays, in which case I would expect Morgan Riley to jump down to the second unit. Your second unit, Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, Max Pacioretty, OEL, and Nick Robertson. Power play has been clicking lately. They've been finding some success, so good for this team for finally turning it around and getting it together here. They're actually getting things in order, and it has looked magical. Oh, wow, imagine that. You score on the power play, you get some success, all of a sudden you're putting up some offensive numbers, and you're winning games. Wow. What a concept. Good for the power play for finally turning this thing around, making it easier so on the post-game show we don't have to talk about every single night what the hell's wrong with this power play. 2 consecutive games the power play has looked unreal and gotten them ahead in games. Those are your lines for tonight. The biggest one that we're following here is that Anthony Stolarz may play. If you saw the quote or the headline, whatever you want to call it, of the morning show, Stolarz returns, ? That's the biggest story of the day. This has been the game he's been slotted in for a while. Looks like, by all accounts, everything everybody's saying is that Stolarz looks good. Stolarz looks better. Stolarz is feeling good. His timing's getting there, all this stuff. Well, this might be your perfect opportunity to throw him in and test things out in game action, because practice is one thing. Scrimmage is one thing. Games are a different beast. I'm excited about the potential return of Anthony Stolarz that we could be seeing here tonight, so that'll be something to monitor. As we get to our best bet of the night, and our best bet is a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION, that's code NATION, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary, at Bet365. All right, so we will take a look here over at Bet365, and I legit think we have a very, very, very good bet ahead of us here tonight. One that I'm very confident in. I feel very good in the number that we're getting, the price that we're getting. It's the best price in market by far, and we've been hot here on the show lately. I mean, we're up 5.5 units on the season. Our record is not very good. Through 53 games, as we go into game 54 here now, we are 20-36, which is not good. It's not good record. But what we are good on is units and profiting money. We are up $550. If you've been following along with the proper bankroll management, unit sizing, staking, all that kind of stuff, you're following along with us here. Like, we have a very, very good show profitability here right now to this point. I don't know if that continues through the final 30 games or 20 plus games here. I'm hoping so, but we are up 5.5 units here right now, and I'm looking to make that even more here tonight with this next best bet. So we're going to go over to a area of Bet365 that's a little bit, not like a main section, but we're going to go to the Leafs Kraken game. We're digging into the player props here as always. We're just going to go to shots on goal, and it's more so the shots on goal milestones than it is shots on goal over under. And we're going to go to Bobby McMann 3+ plus 170. So he's got to get over 2.5, 3 or more shots on goal plus 170 for Bobby McMann. I'm going to be honest, this is by far the best price in the market right now. It is like a very, very good mathematical edge compared to the market and what we're getting elsewhere out there right now. It is something I'm betting myself very heavily here tonight because of what I'm looking at across to other things. Like, I'm just going to be very honest with you guys. I love this bet tonight. Bobby McMann is the driving factor of that third line. He's the driving force of that third line. He's a guy who can get himself bumped up to the second line at any given moment. He can be taking over Max Pacioretty's spot as a second line left wing. If Marner comes back and they put Domi on the second line left wing, again, Bobby McMann can still take over his spot. If Marner comes back and Domi goes to the 3C on that third line, Bobby McMann is going nowhere. In fact, he may get more opportunities to shoot because Max Domi is a better playmaker than Pontus Holmberg. Like, everything for tonight leads us to the direction of this being a banger. And on top of that, Bobby McMann is playing on your second power play unit. He's a guy there who's getting a lot of opportunities. He's taking advantage of them. Everyone around him knows, like, this guy's got a good shot, a good release. He can score goals. He's a guy that you want the puck on his stick. You want him shooting. I think that at 2.5 or 3+ at plus 170, we're getting a ridiculously good number. Now, I'm not talking about this thing being a favorite to go over 2.5 or 3+ here tonight. Like, it's not like it should be minus 110 and we're getting plus 170, but like plus 125, plus 130 on Bobby McMann, probably about where it should be, maybe plus 135, like in that range. I know that those are some different probabilities you get there, but that's about the range that we're looking at across some different books, probably about where it's been in the last couple of games here, especially when you know more notably, hey, that guy's playing on the second line. But based on the usage of McMahon, based on where he's been at, the production he's been getting, and how his line mates are feeding him, I think plus 170 at the 3+ is a legit fantastic number on Bobby McMahon tonight. So we're going to full unit. $100 tonight. Obviously, you don't have to do 100 yourself. You play it however you like, but if maybe your unit is $10 and you've been playing fives on the half units, maybe tonight's the night for the $10, because for me tonight, the way I'm looking at this is a full unit play for us. This is a very good number. This is an incredible opportunity to capitalize on a guy who's been playing really well and getting fed by his line mates. Bobby McMahon over 2.5 shots on goal, or 3+. That's how you want to look at it. Plus 170 here tonight against Seattle Kraken is our best bet. It profits us on this game $170 profit for Bobby McMahon to get 3 or more shots on goal. Look, the reality is this may lose. It is a plus 170. It could lose. It is more likely to lose than not. That's the reason why it's priced this way. That's why elsewhere it is plus 130, plus 125. It's not a sure thing. But I think in the grand scheme of things, if you make this bet 1,000 times and they go to play the Kraken 1,000 times and you make this bet over and over, that's all it is. It's probabilities and simulating things out. I think you're getting a number that you're going to win at more often than not, or be profitable more often than not, I should say. And I think in a case like this, it's a great number. It's a great bet. So Bobby McMahon anytime goal is our best bet for tonight. I know that was a longer explanation. I apologize for that, but I really wanted to kind of break down what we're looking at for McMahon and why I think this is such a good bet, such a good number for us here tonight. That's all for me for the pregame show. I will be back for the post game. We're going to battle through this. I'm going to get some honey citrus mint teas, getting some throat lozenges. We're getting, all that kind of stuff to get dialed in for tonight's game, because it is a 10 p.m. Eastern time game, but that means it is a 12:45 a.m. Eastern time, potentially 1 a.m. Eastern time start time for tonight's After Dark, for tonight's post game show. Thank you all for watching this. I look forward to seeing you guys all in the chat following the game, because you're the ones who are going to get me through this and help me get through this late After Dark show that's probably going to end around 2 a.m. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys showing up constantly. Drop your predictions down below. How are you feeling about this game? Who's scoring? Who's not? Who's winning? What's the final score? I want to hear it all. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. And until the post-game show for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.